incredible value add from these use cases. Apparently, I think it was Gartner or McKinsey, they canvassed all the different use cases across industries, and there's about a 60% value add, incremental value add, which means huge investment in machine learning over the next few years, and literally millions of models being produced. And putting those models into production requires highly specialized skills and infrastructure. It's not just about data science on wrangling data, finding features, training models, etc. There's a requirement for DevOps to actually run machine learning models in production. And there's actually a huge disconnect between the skills required for data science and DevOps. And it's often quite difficult to get the teams to kind of work together cohesively. So really what we're doing is helping people to deploy machine learning models and to bring these teams together. So what we do is we focus on the very late stage of the machine learning pipeline or workflow. So it's not just about building machine learning models. There's this full end-to-end pipeline that needs to be put in place. And we focus here from basically inferencing models, everything that comes after training machine learning models. And what we've done since we integrated with, since we focused on training, on deployment, we have found there's been some really great compatible partnerships that have emerged with other open source platforms that have emerged. The first of which is Kubeflow, which came out of Google, which is a ML toolkit that sits on top of Kubernetes, and that's really taking off in a big way at the moment. There's also Fabric for Deep Learning, which came out of IBM, and Seldon is now an integral part of both of these platforms. Fully open source, cloud native, based on container technologies. And since we released Seldon Core, our open source product, we've seen a significant amount of growth in active clusters. We're really excited about the current traction we're seeing. So what this is showing you is week-on-week active growth in active clusters. The pink line is nodes, and the blue line is clusters, and the green line is, or the teal line is nodes per cluster. So people are actually using it for more demanding workloads, increasing about 25% week on week. A lot of that is driven by our community, by open source, and by our partners. So we have Seldon Core as a core platform, which is really like a control plane that enables you to define and deploy machine learning models, serve models, and it's based on Kubernetes, so it runs everywhere across clouds and on-prem. And we're building a new enterprise product, which is focusing on team collaboration and compliance. What is the workflow? You build models using your preferred ML toolkit, TensorFlow, or any others. You then Dockerize it. We have wrappers to help to Dockerize the model. We then integrate it into Seldon Core, at which point it is accessible via APIs from Seldon Core, and then you deploy it. So it supports any language, not just Python, but R, Java. We recently released a JavaScript wrapper, any library, and not just Seldon's inferencing graph, but we actually have also integrated TensorFlow serving, NVIDIA TensorRT, and Intel nGraph. So you can have hardware-optimized inferencing engines running, and each of these can actually be pulled together into a single inference graph. So what do we mean by inference graph? This is kind of one of the core concepts, really, of Seldon. Rather than packaging up and deploying a single model, we enable you to define a deployment which contains multiple models and components that bring these models together. So in this example, we have a single model. We can then create an A/B test between two different models. We can then convert that into a multi-arm bandit, which is experimenting across all of the models to see which ones perform best and routing the traffic. We then can add in a feature transformer to sort of normalize, for example, the input data, outlier detection, and explanations. This example here would be an R model, which is getting a custom router, or we can have an Onyx served model and a TensorFlow served model in part of the same deployment. So this is all defined via Kubernetes custom resources. So this would be a YAML file, JavaScript YAML file, which, or a JSON YAML file, which basically has different components like the graph definition, the pod specification, the number of replicas, and this is all declarative, so it can be checked into source control. You have better reproducibility. You can spin up the exact same deployment each time on demand. So these are some of the features of Seldon Core, our most recent release. I won't go through all of these. The most exciting, though, of which we think are the Onyx models support, which is a big collaboration between many of the big tech giants, and Node.js wrappers, so you can actually deploy TensorFlow.js models. And we're releasing, we've started the kind of beta program for Seldon Deploy. So we have our sort of initial customer development validation sessions ongoing. We've had over 500 companies apply for this beta. What this screen is showing you is that you can actually use that, have a visual interface to define these inference graphs and manage your team workflows. Things like model explanations will also be represented visually. You can sign up and join the beta on bit.ly/deploy-beta. And we'd love to get your feedback. And that's it for me, so thanks for listening.